Greetings, dudes and lady dudes. Everyone's favorite edgy geekazoid here. And by everyone, I mean all 5 of you currently watching. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Is this guy really so out of ideas for content that he's resorting to reviewing a fucking game controller? And while the answer to that question is yes, I also wanted an excuse to show this thing off. Because it's actually kind of cool. Emphasis on kind of. Now, I just picked this thing up yesterday. Well, at least as of recording this, I picked this thing up yesterday. I don't know when this video is going to be finished or when it's going to be uploaded, if at all. But, as of recording this, I just picked this thing up yesterday. Now, I tried to do an unboxing video of it, but that didn't go over so well. That video was a fucking disaster. So I figured I'd just review it instead, especially since I do have things to say about it. And at least in the case of a review, I can try this multiple times until I get it right. But in the case of an unboxing video, you only get one chance, and if you fuck it up, that's it. That's all she wrote. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Anyway, on with the review, I guess. Alright, first things first, let's just get a better look at this thing. As you can see, you've got NES Link on this side of the controller, and on the other side, you've got the old dude in the cave who's like, "It's dangerous to go alone, take this," and gives Link that little sword there. Speaking of said quote, that quote is also on the controller. "It's dangerous to go alone, take this." Yes, it is dangerous to go alone indeed. Left with nothing but Joy-Cons for the rest of your life. Anyway, moving on. Now, if you saw the title of the video, I know what you might be thinking. Goth, you said that this was a wired controller, but I don't see a wire anywhere. It looks like a regular old wireless controller to me. Well, allow me to show you something. For those who are not familiar with these kinds of controllers. Wrong side. Looking for the right side here. Yeah, this thing comes with a USB cable that plugs into it, like so. Now, why it isn't just plugged in to begin with, I don't know, because when you unplug this thing ceases to function. It doesn't have a battery in it, there's no way to put a battery in it, so, like, the way it's set up is kinda dumb. It's kinda dumb, not gonna lie. But whatever. And, like I said, this is my first Pro controller, so I'm no expert on these, but I would imagine that the wireless ones come with a USB cable as well. After all, you do need something to charge the fucking thing with. So, kinda makes me wonder why these things even exist to begin with. Seeing as though if I had to guess, the wireless one has a wire, and whenever you need to charge it, I would imagine you can probably still play the game while you're charging it. So what is the need for this freaking thing? Well, I imagine that was so they could make a controller that didn't cost your entire life savings, because, let's face it, these things are fucking expensive. Now this little baby was $25. But if you want to get the wireless, it is at least twice that. I saw some for $45. I also think that controllers can go up to as high as $90 depending on which one you get. Like, fuck. Now, yeah, but okay, so this thing, there are some features that it doesn't have. In addition to, you know, being forced on a wire and only working in docked mode as a result. You also lose gyro controls, which just seems to, like, kind of be a standard with wired controllers. Because I actually got a used PS3 that came with a wired controller that lacked the 6-axis function, which is basically the same thing, motion controls. So this thing doesn't have that. And it also doesn't have HD rumble, which I don't understand, because, like, most wired controllers have a rumble feature, but this has no HD rumble. Now, that's not an issue for every game, but I was playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity with this thing, and while it does feel good to play that game with it, there are some... I don't know how many of you watching have played Age of Calamity, but there's a lot of, like, you know... Like, basically, you build up a meter, and there's this... You press A to do, like, this huge freaking attack that does, like, massive damage to a boss, or freaking wipes out, like, all the enemies nearby. And... I don't know. Not having HD rumble... Because, like, whenever you have HD rumble, like, you can really feel the impact of those attacks. But without it, I don't know. It doesn't... They don't feel as satisfying to pull off to me. At that point. I will say that if you're playing Super Mario 64 with this thing... Like, I have 3D All-Stars, and... Playing Super Mario 64 with this thing is an absolute joy. Like, it is an absolute joy to play Super Mario 64 with this thing. Like, this just feels so good. Feels so fucking good. And yeah, it feels a lot like an Xbox controller, actually. Like an Xbox One controller. I think that's probably where some of the inspiration came from, was Xbox. With this controller. And yeah, this thing's like a fucking hand pillow. The D-pad is not my favorite thing ever, but it definitely works, and it's a lot better than the Joy-Con D-pad that's like separated. Just a really weird D-pad on that thing. This one is a lot better. So, there's that. Side-scrollers are definitely, you know, better to play with this thing for sure. It also works pretty well with first-person shooters. Like, I played Duke Nukem, because I have Duke Nukem 3D on Switch as well. Tried that, tested out fighting games. They feel really good with this thing. Smash Brothers is okay. I still feel that game is better played with a GameCube controller, but this works well as an alternative. But yeah, that probably applies to just about every Pro controller. I don't know, but... Like, it's an okay controller, but lacking the gyro and, like, HD rumble... I don't know if I could really recommend this thing. Like... You know, the question is, like, could I recommend this? It depends. It depends. If you don't already have a Pro controller, and you want an alternative that's cheaper, then this definitely works. At only $25, it's not a terrible controller. And I know that, you know, some people... like me, probably aren't willing to pay, you know, at least twice as much for HD rumble and gyro. And if you don't care about those things, then this controller's fine. It's just, you know, if you're trying to play Super Mario Galaxy, you know, the Switch version of Super Mario Galaxy, also included in 3D All-Stars, you're not going to be able to play it with this thing. You're not gonna. And yeah, I will demonstrate that right now. Okay, so here we are. I also wanted to show this off because, like, whenever it's plugged in, you see this little glowy glow. That's pretty cool. I don't know if the wireless controller or yeah, the wireless controller. I don't know if that does it too. Probably, but yeah, whenever this is plugged in, it's got a little glowy glow. little glow stick. Anyway, yeah. Says press R. And at that point, you're supposed to be able to move this little icon, but as you can see, I'm moving it, and that motherfucker ain't going anywhere. So this game is literally unplayable with this. Let me just unplug that real quick. And where the fuck's the Joy-Con controller? As you can see, moving this around, and it's doing the thing. So yeah. And from what I've heard, actual wireless Pro controllers have that feature as well. Anyway, moving on. So again, with that little demonstration out of the way, the only way in which I could recommend this thing is if you're like me and you don't already have a Pro controller and you want a cheaper alternative. That is the only instance in which I could recommend this thing. So, yeah, I guess I would give this controller, if I had to rate it, give it like a 6 or a 7. So maybe give it like a 7 out of 10. Like it's good enough, but it's not great. Like it gets the job done if you have no other options, but I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe getting a wireless at some point, just for the extra features, but I don't know. I don't know if they're worth $20 more. And if you feel that way as well, and you just want a cheap controller that just feels good to play games with, feels like a normal controller, then this is probably your best bet. But if you want the HD rumble and the gyro controls and you're willing to pay $20 extra just for those features, oh, and you can also use a wireless in portable mode. Like if you have the Joy-Cons separated and you have like the Switch standing like a television, it's got a little stand on the back, then you'll be able to use the wireless Pro controller while it's in handheld mode. So, yeah. But, yeah, with all that said, yeah. Probably not the most in-depth review ever. Well, I mean, I tried my best, but yeah. I don't know how many people have these controllers, or yeah, I feel like most people probably have the wireless, but so yeah, I just kind of wanted to let people know what those things are all about, for those who have no experience with them. I mean, I only have a day's worth of experience, but I've fumbled around with it quite a bit, just within the day that I've had it. So yeah, I think that'll be it for the review. It probably wasn't the best review in the world, but whatever. Did my best. I'll see you around with whatever the hell I put out next. Could be a fucking toy review, game review, movie review. You never know with me. This channel might be called the Gothic Gaming Geek, but anything goes here. If I want to review it, I'll fucking review it. If I want to review a movie, if I want to review... if I want to review a fucking ceiling fan, I'll do it. Anyway, I'll see you later. You guys have a good one.
Happy Christmas.